The alarm blared through Sentinel Station. Commander Olivia Reeves rushed to the control room, her boots echoing on the metal floor. Sleep still clung to her eyes, but duty called. "Report," she ordered as the door slid open. Lieutenant Scott looked up from his console. "Unknown ship approaching, Commander. Small vessel, heavy damage, not responding to hails." Olivia frowned. Sentinel Station sat at the edge of human space. Few ships came this far without a reason. On screen, the display showed a small craft tumbling through space. Its hull was scorched black in places. Parts of it were missing entirely. "Life signs?" she asked. "One. Very weak." Olivia made her decision instantly. "Bring it in. Alert medical." 30 minutes later, she stood in the medical bay watching Dr. Lisa Carter work on the alien they'd found inside the ship. The creature had blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Its breathing came in shallow gasps. "Signy," said a voice behind her. Olivia turned to see Ambassador Keith Warren. The diplomat had arrived yesterday for a routine inspection. His timing couldn't have been better, or worse depending on how this went. "You know this species?" Olivia asked. Keith nodded. "Peaceful race. Live about 40 light-years from here. They applied for Galactic Council protection recently." "What happened to him?" "That's what worries me." Keith stepped closer to the medical bed. "The Signy rarely leave their home system." Dr. Carter looked up from her work. "He's stabilizing. Whatever hit him hard. Burns, radiation damage, internal injuries." The alien's eyes fluttered open suddenly. All 4 of his arms reached out in panic. "Easy," Dr. Carter said soothingly. "You're safe." The alien focused on her face. "Human," he whispered. His voice sounded like stones sliding against each other. "Yes, I'm Dr. Carter. This is Commander Reeves and Ambassador Warren. You're on Sentinel Station." "My name, Arxavan." The alien tried to sit up but fell back, too weak. "My world, gone." Keith stepped forward. "What do you mean gone?" "Attacked. Everyone dead." Tears leaked from Arxavan's large eyes. "I was on space patrol, saw it happen, recorded it." "Who attacked you?" Olivia asked. "Vrikari. Council said, myths, not real." Arxavan coughed. "They were wrong." Dr. Carter gently pushed him back. "You need rest." "No time." The alien reached for a small device attached to his suit. "Must see. Must know." Dr. Carter carefully removed the device and handed it to Olivia. It looked like a data recorder. "I'll get this analyzed," Olivia said. "Rest now." An hour later, Olivia, Keith, and Captain Daniel Hayes of the ship Defiant stood in silence around a display table. The images from Arxavan's recorder had just finished playing. No one spoke for a long moment. The recording had shown a beautiful world with soaring cities, then ships appearing in orbit. Black, organic-looking vessels that rained destruction, buildings crumbling, people running, a civilization dying in hours. "God help us," Keith finally whispered. "God help us all," Olivia agreed. I've never seen anything like them." Captain Hayes replayed part of the footage. "Look at how they move, almost like they're alive." "The Signy applied for Council protection 3 months ago," Keith said. "They claimed to have evidence of a hostile species moving toward their territory. The Council dismissed it as unverified." "Looks pretty verified to me," Captain Hayes said grimly. The door slid open and Dr. Carter entered. "Our guest is awake again, more lucid this time." They followed her to medical. Arxavan sat propped up on the bed, looking slightly better than before. "You saw," he said. It wasn't a question. Keith nodded. "We did. I'm sorry about your world. The Council ignored us." Arxavan's voice held no anger, only sadness. "Said Vrikari were old stories. Space myths." "Tell us about them," Olivia urged. "Ancient enemy. Appear every few centuries. Destroy civilizations, take resources." Arxavan's hands trembled. "They do not communicate, do not negotiate, only consume." Why haven't we heard of them? Captain Hayes asked. Few survive to tell stories. Those who do, not believed. Arxavan looked at them with pleading eyes. They will come for others. For you. Must warn everyone. Keith's face hardened. The council needs to see this evidence. They won't act, Arxavan said. Too slow, too cautious. Then we will, Olivia said firmly. The others looked at her. If the council won't protect, people, humanity will. We've faced extinction before. We know what it means to fight for survival. Captain Hayes nodded. The Defiant can reach the Cygni system in 3 days. We'll verify the attack. And I'll take this evidence directly to Earth, Keith said. Then to the council. Arxavan closed his eyes. Thank you. My people. Gone. Don't let others suffer. Same fate. 2 days later, Olivia stood in the docking bay as Captain Hayes prepared to depart. His crew was loading equipment onto the Defiant. Keep your shields up, she told him. We don't know if those things are still there. We'll be careful, Hayes promised. This is recon only, no heroics. Across the bay, Keith was boarding his own faster diplomatic vessel bound for Earth. The ambassador had copied Arxavan's data and was taking it directly to the president. What do you think the council will do? Hayes asked quietly. Olivia shook her head. Debate, form committees, waste time. And us? We'll do what humans have always done when faced with a threat. Prepare to fight. Olivia handed him a data chip. These are Arxavan's observations about Ricari capabilities. Not much, but it's a start. Hayes pocketed the chip. Will it be enough? It has to be, Olivia said. Dr. Carter thinks there might be more information locked in Arxavan's ship. She's working on it now. The station's communication system crackled to life. Commander Reeves to control. Urgent message from Outpost Gamma 9. Olivia frowned. That's 3 systems over. I need to take this. She hurried to the control room. Lieutenant Scott looked worried. What is it? She asked. Gamma 9 reports unusual energy readings at the edge of their system. Several objects just appeared. Moving fast. Olivia felt her blood turn cold. On screen, the display showed grainy long-range images, dark shapes moving against the stars, organic-looking, familiar from Arxavan's recording. Send to the Defiant and Ambassador Warren immediately, she ordered. Then contact Earth Command, Priority 1. As the message went out, Olivia stared at the screen. The shapes were multiplying. More ships appearing. They're coming, she whispered. Just like he said. In the medical bay, Arxavan watched Earth's sun on the display screen. The doctor had shown him images of the blue planet to cheer him up. Beautiful world, he said softly. I hope it stays that way. His words hung in the air like a prayer, a desperate wish, a warning. Humanity had heard one cry of desperation. Now they would mobilize, and soon the galaxy would shudder. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiant, staring at the view screen in silence. Where the Cygni homeworld should have been, there was only ruin. Scan again, he ordered, his voice tight. Lieutenant Andrea Norris shook her head. No change, sir. The planet's surface is completely devastated. No cities remain. No life signs detected. Hayes gripped the edge of his command chair. The beautiful world he had seen in Arxavan's recordings was now a scorched wasteland. 8 billion lives gone in hours. What about the other planets in the system? Same condition, mining outposts, colonies, all destroyed. Any sign of the Ricari ships? No, sir, Andrea replied. But our sensors are picking up unusual energy signatures, like nothing I've seen before. Hayes moved to her station and studied the readings. Record everything. Every scrap of data might help us understand what we're facing. Captain, called out the communications officer. We're receiving a message from Earth Command, Priority 1. Hayes straightened. On screen, Admiral Susan Miller's face appeared. Her expression was grim. Captain Hayes, report. It's gone. Admiral, the entire Cygni civilization. Exactly as Arxavan described. Miller nodded as if she'd expected this. Ambassador Warren showed us the recordings. President Blackwood has declared a state of emergency. All human ships are being recalled, all colonies placed on high alert. The Vrikari? We've detected their ships in 3 different sectors. They're moving slowly, but steadily toward populated systems. Miller's eyes hardened. I need your data, Captain. Everything you can gather about their weapons, their tactics. Understood, Admiral. We're collecting it now. Good. Then get back to Earth space. We're going to need every ship. When the communication ended, Hayes turned to his crew. You heard, the Admiral. Let's get to work. On Earth, Ambassador Keith Warren stood before the Galactic Council. Representatives from 32 spacefaring civilizations looked down at him from their seats in the Great Chamber. The evidence is undeniable, Warren said. The Vrikari are real, and they represent a threat to all civilized worlds. Council. Member Thexal, a tall, thin alien with pale skin, leaned forward. Humans are new to galactic society. Perhaps you misunderstand what you have seen. Warren's jaw tightened. 8 billion Cygni are dead. What is there to misunderstand? Tragic, certainly, Thexal replied. But natural disasters occur. Suns flare. Asteroids fall. This was no natural disaster, Warren insisted. He played Arxavon's recording again. The council chamber grew quiet as they watched the Vrikari ships rain destruction upon the Cygni world. When it ended, Warren spoke again. Our scientists have analyzed this footage. The destruction patterns match reports from 3 other natural disasters in the past year. The Vrikari are methodically harvesting resources from populated worlds. Council member Zelix, a small bird-like alien, spoke up. If this is true, why have they not been seen before? They have, Warren replied. But those who encountered them were not believed, just as you're not believing me now. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Thexal raised his hands for silence. This council does not act on fear, Ambassador. We require proof of hostile intent before considering military action. We will send observers to investigate these claims. In the meantime, we will attempt diplomatic contact with these Vrikari. Warren shook his head in disbelief. By the time your observers report back, more worlds will have fallen, and the Vrikari do not respond to communication attempts. Ask Arxavon. Ask the ghosts of his people. The council has decided, Thexal said firmly. This meeting is adjourned. As the representatives filed out, Warren stood alone, fists clenched. Humanity would have to act without council support. In the Oval Office, President Alan Blackwood met with Admiral Miller and Dr. Frank Rodriguez, Earth's leading weapons researcher. The council refused to help, Blackwood said, placing his tablet on the desk. Ambassador Warren just reported in. Miller wasn't surprised. We expected that, sir. Then we stand alone. Blackwood turned to Dr. Rodriguez. What progress on the shield technology? Rodriguez pulled up schematics on his tablet. My team has been adapting the experimental shields for military use. They won't stop the Vrikari weapons completely, but they'll buy our ships time. How long until they're ready? 2 weeks for the first batch. Less if we cut safety protocols. Blackwood shook his head. No shortcuts. We do this right. He turned to Miller. Admiral, what's our status? I've activated the dormant defense protocols, Miller said. All retired military personnel are being recalled to service. Civilian ships are being retrofitted with weapon systems. Earth's orbital defenses are at full alert. And our colonies? Evacuation plans are in place for the most vulnerable. Others are digging in, preparing for the worst. Blackwood looked out the window at the Washington Monument, gleaming in the distance. In all of human history, we've never faced a threat like this. But we've survived wars, plagues, and our own self-destructive tendencies. We'll survive this too. Yes, sir, Miller agreed. The Vrikari may have technology we don't understand yet. But they've never faced humanity before. At the Earth Advanced Computing Center, Lily Hayes worked frantically at her station. Screens of data flowed around her as she analyzed the Vrikari attack patterns. Her brother Daniel had sent the Defiance sensor readings, and she had been studying them non-stop for 36 hours. Lily? Her supervisor stood in the doorway. You should rest. I can't, she said without looking up. I'm seeing something in their movement patterns. A logic to it. What kind of logic? They're not random. The Vrikari ships follow specific paths between systems. Lily pointed to her main screen where a map of nearby star clusters displayed glowing lines. These are their recorded movements over the last 6 months, based on all available data. Her supervisor leaned closer. What are those predictions? Their next targets. Lily highlighted 3 star systems. Harmony Colony, Proxima Station, New Madrid, all human settlements. Are you sure? Lily nodded grimly. 97%. Certain. And they'll hit Harmony first, 2 weeks, maybe less. Her supervisor paled. I'll alert Admiral Miller immediately. As he rushed out, Lily continued working, refining her predictions. Outside her window, ships filled the sky. Military, vessels preparing for war, civilian craft being converted for defense. Earth was mobilizing faster than any time in its history. Across the galaxy, other species watched with a mixture of curiosity and contempt. The Altarians called it human paranoia. The Drell Confederacy labeled it warmongering. The Phasian Union simply called it pointless. None of them understood what humanity had learned long ago. Survival sometimes required seeing threats before others did, preparing when others waited, fighting when others hesitated. On Sentinel Station, Commander Olivia Reeves stood with Arxavon, watching the activity outside. Human ships moved in formation, conducting battle drills. Defense platforms were being installed. Your people move quickly, Arxavon observed. We have to, Olivia replied. The Vrikari won't wait and neither will we. The Council still debates, Arxavon said bitterly. Still seeks peaceful contact. Olivia placed a hand on his shoulder. Let them debate. We'll be ready. In the distance, a flash of light announced another ship jumping into the system, then another, and another. Earth's fleet was gathering. The galaxy might not believe yet, but it would soon. 3 weeks passed in a blur of activity. Earth's factories worked around the clock. Mining ships became troop carriers. Research vessels were fitted with weapon systems. Old military ships were pulled from museums and made ready for battle again. Commander Joseph Russell stood on the bridge of the heavy cruiser Valiant. Through the view screen, he watched his fleet move into position around Harmony Colony. 36 ships of various sizes formed a protective barrier between the planet and open space. Status report, Russell ordered. Lieutenant Grace Peterson responded from her station. All ships in position, Commander. Defense satellites deployed. Planet-side evacuation is at 70%. Russell nodded. And the early warning system? Operational. Sir, we'll have 6 hours notice if anything larger than a shuttle enters the system. Good. Russell turned to his communications officer. Contact Governor Gibson. Tell him he has 24 hours to complete the evacuation. On the planet. Below, Governor Eric Gibson coordinated the evacuation from the colony's control center. Thousands of people moved in orderly lines toward the waiting transport ships. Governor, called an aide. Commander Russell says we have 24 hours. Gibson wiped sweat from his forehead. We'll need every minute. Tell him we're moving, as fast as we can. Outside the control center, a young woman named Maya Bennett supervised the loading of essential equipment onto a shuttle. 3 weeks ago, she had been a civilian engineer. Now she wore a hastily issued military uniform with engineer's insignia. Careful with that, she shouted as workers loaded a power generator. That's keeping our defenses running until the last transport leaves, a voice called from behind her. Engineer Bennett, you're needed on the Dauntless. Maya turned to see Lance Wright, tactical officer from one of the fleet's ships. She had met him briefly when her civilian engineering team had been integrated into the defense force. What's the problem, she asked. Their main targeting system is glitching. With your background in sensor arrays, I'm on my way, she said, already moving. Jenkins, you're in charge here. Aboard the Dauntless, Maya found a mess of wires and circuit boards spread across a workbench. The ship's engineering crew looked frustrated. The targeting system keeps losing calibration, the chief engineer explained. We've replaced every component we can think of. Maya studied the system. In her civilian job, she had designed similar arrays for deep space research. This isn't a hardware problem, she said after a few minutes. It's in the software. The targeting algorithms aren't compensating for the new weapon systems you've added. She sat down at a terminal and began typing rapidly. I can fix this, but it's going to take a few hours. You have too, Lance said grimly. The early warning system just picked up something. Multiple objects heading our way. In orbit above Harmony, Commander Russell received the alert. The tactical display showed 15 large objects moving toward the colony at incredible speed. Battle stations, he ordered calmly. Notify all ships. Priority is protecting the evacuation transports. The fleet moved into defensive formation. Shields hummed to life, weapon systems powered up. Sir, Lieutenant Peterson said, we're being hailed by the Galactic Council? Russell blinked in surprise. On screen, the face of Ambassador Zilix appeared. The small, bird-like alien looked nervous. Commander Russell, I come with a warning. The Council has confirmed your reports. The Vrikari are real and hostile. They have attacked 3 more systems in the past week. We know, Russell said flatly. They're about to attack this one. Where is the Council fleet? Zilix looked down. There is no fleet coming. The Council is still debating. A formal response. I came on my own against orders to offer what help I can. Russell fought back anger. One ship won't make much difference, Ambassador, but we appreciate the gesture. Take position behind our lines. Protect the civilian transports if our front ranks fall. After the communication ended, Russell turned to his crew. Looks like we're on our own, people, just as we expected. On the Dauntless, Maya worked frantically to fix the targeting system. Lance stood nearby, watching the tactical display. They're coming in fast, he said. 15 ships, bigger than anything in our fleet. Maya didn't look up from her work. Almost done. Just need to bypass the safety protocols. That's dangerous. So is facing those things with broken targeting systems. She made a final adjustment. There. Should work now. Lance helped her close the access panel. Let's hope it's enough. The Vrikari fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the system. Black, organic-looking ships that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved with unnatural precision, spreading out to surround the human defense fleet. They're boxing us in, Russell observed. Trying to cut off escape routes. Should we retreat? His executive officer asked. Russell shook his head. If we run, Harmony falls. All those people still down there die. We make our stand here. He opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, this is Commander Russell. The enemy we face today has destroyed entire civilizations. They expect us to be easy prey, like the others. But we are human. We stand for those who cannot stand for themselves. We fight when others flee. We hold when others break. For Earth, for Harmony, for all who would be next if we fail here today. The Vrikari ships opened fire first. Beams of green energy lanced across space, hitting human shields in blinding flashes. The human fleet answered with everything they had. The battle for Harmony Colony had begun. On the planet below, Governor Gibson watched the flashes of light in the sky. How many more transports? He asked his aide. 6 more needed to complete. Evacuation. Gibson nodded grimly. Keep them loading. As long as our fleet holds, we keep evacuating. In space, the human ships fought with desperate courage. The Valiant took heavy damage but continued firing. The Dauntless, with its newly repaired targeting system, scored a direct hit on a Vrikari vessel, causing it to veer off course. Lance stared in shock. We heard it. We actually heard it. Throughout the fleet, the news spread. The Vrikari could be damaged. They weren't invincible. 3 human ships had been destroyed, but a Vrikari vessel was now visibly damaged. The balance of the battle was still heavily against them, but they had proven something critical. Humanity could fight back. Commander Russell ordered a new tactic. Concentrate fire on the damaged ship. All vessels. Target same coordinates. 5. Human ships focused their weapons on the wounded Vakari vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the alien ship broke apart in a silent explosion. A cheer went up across the fleet's communication channels. "We got one," Lieutenant Peterson exclaimed. "And paid with 3 of our ships to do it," Russell said grimly. "Keep fighting. We need to buy time for the evacuation." The battle raged for hours. More human ships fell. 2 more Vakari vessels were damaged enough to retreat. The colony's defenses held just long enough for the last transport to escape. As the final civilian ship jumped to safety, Commander Russell gave the order he had hoped to avoid. All remaining vessels, emergency retreat. Jump to Rally Point Alpha. The surviving human ships, less than half their original number, broke away from the battle and disappeared into hyperspace. Below, Harmony Colony lay defenseless. The Vakari descended to the abandoned planet, their true purpose now clear as they began to harvest resources. But the battle had not been fought in vain. Most of the colonists had escaped, and more importantly, humanity had proven that the Vakari could be fought, could be hurt, could even be defeated. As the battered fleet regrouped at the rally point, Commander Russell received a transmission from Earth. Admiral Miller's face appeared on screen. "You did well, Commander," she said. "The evacuation succeeded." "We lost a lot of good people," Russell replied, "and the colony. But you proved they can be fought," Miller said. "And we got valuable combat data. We're already incorporating what we've learned into new tactics, new weapons. What's next?" Miller's face was determined. "Now we take this information to the Galactic Council again. They can't ignore us anymore. And if they do, humanity will stand alone if we must." The news of the battle at Harmony Colony spread quickly through the galaxy. Humanity had stood against the Vakari. They had destroyed one enemy ship and damaged others. No other species had achieved this since the attacks began. On the Galactic Council Station, Ambassador Keith Warren faced the council members again. This time the chamber was silent as he spoke. "You have all seen the reports," he said. "The Vakari attacked Harmony Colony exactly as we predicted. Our forces engaged them, evacuated most civilians, and gathered critical combat data." Council member Thexal, who had dismissed the human warnings before, looked troubled. "We have received disturbing news from other sectors. The Phasian outpost at Gamma Sector was destroyed yesterday. The Tyrellian mining colony in Sector 12 has gone silent." Warren nodded grimly. "The Vakari aren't targeting just humans. They're attacking any civilization they encounter. We need to form a united defense, or we will all fall one by one." For the first time, the council members seemed truly afraid. Thexal spoke quietly. "What do you propose, Ambassador?" "An alliance. All species contributing ships, technology, and personnel to a combined defense force." "Who would lead this alliance?" asked another council member. Warren stood straight. "We all would. But humanity will contribute our combat experience against the Vakari. We've faced them and survived. We know how to hurt them." After hours of debate, the council voted. The Galactic Defense Alliance was formed, with Admiral Susan Miller appointed as its first military commander. On Luna Base, the Earth's moon, Admiral Miller established the Alliance Command Center. Ships from a dozen alien species began to arrive, forming an unprecedented combined fleet. Miller studied the tactical displays with Arxavon at her side. The Cygni survivor had recovered enough to serve as an advisor. "Their main fleet is gathering. Here." Miller pointed to a star system at the edge of inhabited space. "Our scouts report over 50 Vakari ships." Arxavon's 4 hands moved over the display. "They're building something. See these energy readings?" Miller frowned. "What could they be building?" "Something terrible," Arxavon whispered. "Something that could threaten many worlds at once." In another part of the base, Dr. Samantha West worked with a team of alien scientists. As humans and aliens spoke different languages and used different communication systems, coordinating the fleet was a huge challenge. "The problem isn't just language," Dr. West explained to Admiral Miller during a briefing. "Each species uses different technology. Their ships can't talk to each other. Can you fix it? Miller asked. Dr. West nodded. We've developed a universal communication system. It translates not just words, but also technical data between different systems. Miller smiled for the first time in days. Good work. Get it installed. On all Alliance ships immediately. Meanwhile, General Paul Martinez led a dangerous mission. His team of Special Forces soldiers boarded a small, stealthy ship called the Shadow. Our mission is simple but extremely dangerous, he told his team. We're going to capture a damaged Vakari vessel and learn everything we can about them. The Shadow slipped away from Luna Base, heading toward a location where a damaged Vakari ship had been spotted. 5 days later, the Shadow returned, towing a small Vakari scout ship. Scientists and engineers swarmed over the alien vessel, studying its technology and biology. Dr. Rodriguez, the weapons researcher, made a startling discovery. The ship itself is partially alive, he reported to Admiral Miller. It's a blend of technology and organic material. Even more important was what they learned from the ship's data systems. Lieutenant Lily Hayes, working with a team of alien code breakers, managed to access its memory. The Vakari aren't individuals like us, she explained during an emergency meeting. They're a hive mind. What we've been fighting are just drones. A hive mind? General Martinez asked. Like insects? Similar, but more advanced. They share a collective consciousness, and they don't see other species as sentient beings. To them, we're just resources to be harvested. Admiral Miller absorbed this information. Does this give us any tactical advantage? Yes, Lily said. They rely on Central Command ships to coordinate their actions. If we can disrupt their communication, the drones will be confused. This insight proved invaluable. The Alliance began developing weapons to disrupt Vakari communications. On the diplomatic front, Ambassador Warren worked tirelessly to bring more species into the Alliance. Some were eager to join, having seen the destruction the Vakari caused. Others remained hesitant, preferring to defend only their own territories. We cannot win this war separately, Warren told a gathering of ambassadors. The Vakari don't care about our borders or our differences. They see all of us as resources to be used. Either we stand together, or we fall one by one. His words had impact. The Alliance grew to include 27 different species, the largest coalition in galactic history. Each species contributed their unique strengths. The Phasians provided advanced stealth technology. The Turellians shared their powerful energy weapons. The Altarians, who had initially mocked humanity's warnings, now offered their fastest ships as scouts. For the first time, species that had regarded each other with suspicion for centuries worked side by side, united by the common threat. At Luna Base, Admiral Miller met with her diverse command staff. Human officers stood alongside alien commanders, all focused on the tactical displays. The Vakari main fleet has finished whatever they were building, she announced. Our scouts report they're on the move, heading toward populated systems. How many ships? Asked a Phasian commander. Over 60 now, Miller replied. More than any single world could face alone. But not more than we can face together, said General Martinez. Admiral Miller nodded. We've prepared as much as we can. Our ships have been retrofitted with the new communication systems. Our weapons have been modified based on what we learned at Harmony Colony. When do we intercept them? Asked Arxavan. Miller pointed to a location on the star map. Here, this uninhabited system. We will meet them before they reach populated worlds. The commanders dispersed to prepare their ships. The largest space battle in galactic history was about to begin. On the Retribution, the Alliance's flagship, Commander Olivia Reeves took command. She had been promoted after her actions at Sentinel Station. Now she would lead the fleet into battle. All ships report ready, Commander, her executive officer said. Olivia looked at the view screen where hundreds of ships from dozens of worlds formed up around her. Ships of all shapes and sizes, crewed by beings who breathed different air and saw through different eyes, yet all united in purpose. Send the signal, she ordered. The Alliance fleet will jump in 5 minutes. As the countdown began, Arxavan stood beside her on the bridge. My people would be proud to see this, he said quietly. So many different worlds standing together. Olivia nodded. We will avenge your people and protect all of ours. The jump. Engines powered up. The Alliance fleet vanished into hyperspace, heading toward their rendezvous with the Ricari. Humanity had mobilized. They had convinced others to join them. Now came the true test. Would it be enough? The Alliance fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. Over 300 ships from 27 different species faced the Ricari armada. On the bridge of the Retribution, Commander Olivia Reeves took a deep breath. Status report, she ordered. All ships in position, her tactical officer replied. Enemy fleet detected. 67 vessels, including one ship nearly twice the size of any we've encountered before. Olivia studied the tactical display. The massive Ricari ship sat at the center of their formation, surrounded by its drone vessels. That's their command ship, Arxavon said quietly. The Queen vessel. Then that's our primary target, Olivia decided. She opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships, this is Commander Reeves. We face an enemy that has destroyed entire civilizations, but they have never faced a united galaxy before. Today we fight not just for our own worlds, but for all worlds, for those who have fallen, and those who will never have to fall if we succeed here. She nodded to her communications officer, who transmitted the attack plan to all ships. The Alliance fleet divided into strike groups, each with a specific role. Strike Group Alpha, engage the outer defense ring, Olivia ordered. Strike Group Beta, provide cover fire. Strike Group Delta, hold in reserve. The battle began with a blinding exchange of weapons fire. Ricari green energy beams lashed out, meeting the diverse weapons of the Alliance ships. Some vessels fired energy weapons, others launched missiles, and some deployed exotic technologies never before used in battle. Aboard the Earth ship Dauntless, Lance Wright directed the targeting systems that Maya Bennett had modified. The ship saw weapons found their mark, damaging a Ricari drone vessel. Their shields are adapting, Lance called out. They're learning from each hit. Maya worked frantically at her engineering station. Changing targeting frequencies, don't fire in patterns they can predict. The information spread through the Alliance communication network that Dr. West had created. Ships began varying their attack patterns, making it harder for the Ricari to adapt. On Luna Base, Lily Hayes monitored the battle through real-time data feeds. Her combat AI system processed the information, looking for patterns and weaknesses. Their drone ships move to protect the Queen vessel whenever it's threatened, she observed. That's our way in. She transmitted a new tactic to the fleet. 3 small, fast ships would pretend to attack the Queen vessel from one direction, drawing the drones to defend it. Then the main attack would come from the opposite side. The plan worked initially. Several Alliance ships broke through the Ricari defenses and landed hits on the Queen vessel. But the Ricari responded with overwhelming force, destroying 12 Alliance ships in minutes. On the Retribution, Olivia received the casualty reports with a heavy heart. We need a new approach. We can't win by conventional tactics. That's when Captain Daniel Hayes contacted her from his ship, the Defiant. Commander, we have a plan. A small team can use a captured Ricari shuttle to approach the Queen ship. The Ricari won't fire on their own vessel. Once aboard, we can deploy the virus Lily developed to disrupt their hive mind communication. Olivia considered the incredibly dangerous plan. Who would lead this mission? I would, Hayes replied. She knew the risks were enormous, but they were running out of options. Approved, Captain. The fleet will create a diversion. The Defiant launched the captured Ricari shuttle. Captain Hayes led a team of 6 volunteers, including 2 alien specialists who understood Ricari technology. The small craft moved toward the Queen vessel while the Alliance fleet engaged the drone ships in a fierce battle. As they approached the massive ship, Hayes whispered, "They're not firing. The disguise is working." His team docked with the Queen vessel, cutting their way inside. The interior was unlike anything they had seen before. part mechanical, part biological, with walls that seemed to pulse with life. Following Lily's instructions, they moved toward the central communication hub. They encountered Vrikari drones, insect-like creatures that moved with terrifying speed. The team fought their way forward, losing 2 members in the process. Meanwhile, the battle outside intensified. The Alliance fleet was taking heavy losses. Nearly 1/3 of their ships were destroyed or disabled. The Vrikari pressed their advantage, moving to surround the remaining Alliance vessels. On the Retribution, Olivia received a desperate message from Maya on the Dauntless. "Our shields are failing. Can't hold much longer." "Hold your position," Olivia replied. "Help is coming." She turned to her tactical officer. "Any word from Captain Hayes?" "Nothing yet, Commander." Inside the Queen vessel, Hayes and his remaining team reached the central hub. As Lily had predicted, it contained organic computer nodes that controlled the hive mind communication. They planted the virus and prepared to retreat. "Virus deployed," Hayes reported, returning to shuttle. But they had been discovered. Vrikari drones swarmed the corridors, cutting off their escape route. Hayes made a quick decision. "Commander, Reeves, the virus is active, but we're cut off from the shuttle. You need to target the Queen ship now." On the Retribution, Olivia closed her eyes briefly. "Understood, Captain. We'll make it count." She turned to her crew. "All ships, concentrate. Fire on the Queen vessel. All weapons, maximum power." Every Alliance ship that could still fight turned its weapons on the Vrikari Queen ship. The massive vessel's shields flared under the assault. Inside, Hayes and his team made a last stand. The virus was working. The Vrikari drones around them began moving erratically, their coordinated actions breaking down. "It's working," Hayes reported, his voice calm despite the situation. "The hive mind is fragmenting. They can't coordinate their defense." The Alliance fleet pressed the attack. The Queen vessel's shields failed and hits began landing on its hull. Inside, Hayes and his team made a desperate run for an escape pod. "We found another way out," he reported, launching emergency pod. Now. A small pod ejected from the Queen vessel just as the Alliance fleet's combined firepower finally broke through. The massive ship began to break apart from within, secondary explosions cascading through its structure. When the Queen vessel exploded, the effect on the drone ships was immediate. Some became completely inactive. Others moved in random patterns, firing blindly into space. Without their central control, the Vrikari fleet fell into chaos. The Alliance ships pressed their advantage, destroying or disabling the confused Vrikari vessels. Within hours, the battle was over. The greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced was defeated. Captain Hayes' escape pod was recovered. He and 1 survivor from his team were found alive. 2 weeks later, representatives from all Alliance species gathered on Earth for a formal ceremony. President Alan Blackwood addressed the assembly. "From one cry of desperation came the greatest alliance our galaxy has ever known," he said. "The Vrikari threat is not completely eliminated. Their species may return someday. But when they do, they will find not isolated worlds, but a united galaxy ready to defend itself." After the ceremony, Commander Olivia Reeves stood with Arxavan on a balcony overlooking the gathering. Ships from dozens of worlds filled Earth's sky in a display of unity. "Your people would be proud," Olivia said. Arxavan nodded. "They are not forgotten. Their sacrifice woke the galaxy to a threat it would have faced unprepared, and humanity's response showed everyone a better way forward." In the distance, a memorial was being constructed, a monument to the Cygni and all others who had fallen. But it was also a monument to hope, to the power of unity, and to the day when one desperate cry had mobilized humanity, and the galaxy shuddered. Not in fear, but in strength.